All right, unemployment assistance. How do you get unemployment benefits? Where do you apply? How do you get unemployment benefits in California? And what is the unemployment benefits application? You know, in every state it's a little bit different, but in California, the EDD website sort of mirrors a lot of what goes on in other states. This video is going to explain to you what you do, how you do it, and can you still apply for unemployment benefits as a result of coronavirus COVID-19. This is one of 4 videos we're doing today. The other video is about PUA, which might apply to you or may not, EIDL grant, and finally, proposed second stimulus check. All right, let's get to it. Unemployed benefits and the application process. There are 2 scenarios of what might be done in your state. Unemployment benefits are played by your state. You go to your state's unemployment website, you get a username, you get a password, you sign in, and you get ready to go. At that point, there's 2 possible scenarios that could happen. The first one is that your state has one tab in the website to do unemployment benefits and another tab to do PUA claims. Or, in the case of California, for EDD, they do everything together. They just ask all the questions together. All right, so if you're doing it, what mindset should you be in? This is the mindset you're in. If you're watching this video, you believe you're an employee. So an employee, for purposes of unemployment benefits, is someone who gets a W-2 in 2019. You're employed by Home Depot, you're employed by Macy's, you're employed by a hotel. You are a W-2 employee. Okay. If you are a Lyft driver, if you're an accountant, if you're an Uber driver, you're probably an independent contractor, self-employed. You are not an employee. Unemployment benefits are for unemployed employees. PUA is for people who have their job reduced or lost their job as a self-employed individual, as an independent contractor. The good news is the benefits are about the same. The bad news is these applications sometimes overlap, but then the good news is sometimes you just do them together. All right, so in EDD, in the case of California, you go into the website and you start to answer questions. Now, this video is being recorded as you are an employee. If you are an independent contractor, skip to the other video that's recorded this day about PUA. All right, so for you and employees, this is for individuals got paid last year, 2019, a W-2 were employees, like a Home Depot employee. Okay, so it will ask you a series of questions. There are 2 questions you need to really get the answer correct. One is about physicality. The other one is about mental issues. The first one about physicality. But for COVID-19, would you have been able to work? Able is a key word. That means that you're physically able to work. It's a physical question. The answer is yes. Yes, you would have been able to work, but for COVID-19. The next question is a mental question. But for COVID-19, would you have been willing to work? Willing is a mental question. Would you have been willing to work if you could have worked? Answer is yes. Understand that is a yes for both of those questions, whether you're doing a PUA application or an independent or a self-employed or an employee question. If you answer no for either question, you're going to get rejected. Repeat, if you answer no for either question, you're going to get rejected. When going through the application website, and I will back up. Before going to the application website, look at the about approximately 11 categories of why you think you might qualify. And those for COVID-19 are you got COVID-19, a family member got COVID-19, or the last 2 ones, which are big ones. Because of COVID-19, you were reduced from full capacity to partial capacity, or because of COVID-19, you couldn't reach your place of employment. You only need one to apply for you. If more than one applies, no problem. Just choose the one that's best. But the last one usually applies. Get that decision made in your mind before you go in through the application process, because it's a big issue. All right. So when you're in there and you're doing this application, it's going to ask you questions about employer and employment and self-employed and in self-employment. The mindset you got to stay in is that, are you returning to this employer, Home Depot, or are you going to another employer? If you are an individual who is both a Home Depot employee and a Lyft driver, and both jobs have been impacted because of coronavirus, I'm going to give you the short answer now. You're probably going to default for the one that has been impacted the most financially. If you are both if in 2019, and this is asking 2019 these questions, if in 2019 you were both a Home Depot employee and a Lyft driver, but you are unable to drive for Lyft because of COVID-19, however, you were able to work at Home Depot because of COVID-19, you probably should not be applying for unemployment benefits. You need to check with the state, but it generally does not sound like you qualify. All right, lastly, if something's happening in 2020, no, back it up. If something's happening after coronavirus is occurring, that is sort of a different analysis. The question is asking your point of impact. So during the application process to get eligibility, it's going to ask on a particular date and that date forward, were you impacted because of coronavirus? Generally, it is the stay-at-home order issued by your municipality or your region. So if a stay-at-home order is issued March 15th and you can't work anymore after March 15th, that's your date. That is your date. Why is that important? You got to note that date. And I'm telling you right now, because your benefits are going to go back to that date. In most states, all states are required to go back to the date of first impact of employment. And that date is the date upon which your benefits derive. So make sure you get that right at the beginning of the application process. And that is the point of reference for what's going on. Now, everything after that is whether you're able to work. That reduces your benefits thereafter. But for purposes of eligibility, we're dealing with the issue of the date of impact, and that would be potentially somewhere in the month of March. All right, so a lot of information there. Let's go to the next step. The next step is you finish the claim. This is called the claim. And then you're wondering what goes on next. Okay, well, you're thinking the website says something like, you can get a letter in the mail in 4 weeks. Good luck and wait for the mail. No. It's not happening. There are two possible scenarios that could happen. You either, depending on the state, you can either get an alert by the website, by email, or you have to dig. In some states, the website will send you an alert that there's a new message in the correspondence section of the website. You'll sign in and see that correspondence in there, and there'll be a PDF. You click it, and it says, hey, you've been approved. In other states, which is California, EDD, you'll have to dig. You'll have to look around, and then in one of the tabs, it'll say, hey, you've been approved, or hey, your claim is now been authorized. And you know how it is? It will say something like, if you said date of impact was March 15th, approximately, it'll say March 15th to 12/31/2020. So it's basically certifying, it's basically setting up your account for the whole rest of the year based upon that date. You're approved. So what do you do next? What you do next is watch tomorrow's video. And tomorrow's video will explain to you, how do you get payments? How do you certify for payments? Where do you certify for payments? In some states, you don't have to certify for payments. A lot of information. It's not an easy process. Your comments help us. Send us a lot of comments. Like the video. There was one video that had a good number of great comments and praises about the video, but very few likes. The algorithm likes when you like the video. So like the video, subscribe. Subscribe because we're updating this all the time. This is a very fluid situation. These websites are changing all the time. So some of you are commenting on videos from 5 days ago, and the websites have totally changed in 5 days. So like and subscribe and stay with us because there's 3 other videos today. This one, EIDL, proposed stimulus check, and PUA. But for more, well, stay with LALATE, and we'll see what we got for you next.